So good morning, everyone. So today, Wednesday, the 10th, I believe, of June, we are going to do some standing. So if we can all stand up, and we want to stand with our feet hip distance, and with as much as possible our toes pointing forward and extending the toes, the spaces between the toes, as much as you can. So we're just going to soften our knees and take a breath in. Just bring the shoulders up to the ears and exhale down. And again, inhale up, shoulders up to the ears, and exhale down. Inhale up and exhale down. And down. So when you lift, get the shoulders really high. See if you can touch your ears, and down. And again, inhale, really high, and down. One more, inhale, really high, and down. Okay, let's take that into a rotation now. So we're rolling the shoulders up, back, down, forward. Now let's involve our body a little bit so we can bend our knees as we do that. Keep our breath going. Feel that little crunch going on there, or crunches. And we'll change the direction. So we're going up, forward, back, down, up, forward, back, down. Just enjoy to feel the breath coming into your body. Great. And then release. Right, we'll take our feet slightly further apart. Take the arms out to the side again, soften the knees, inhale. We're going to lift up to the ceiling, stretching up, exhale down. Again, inhale, lift up to the ceiling and down. Stretching up and down. Stretching up and down. Great. Now, should we change the direction? So we're going the other way, crossing the other arm. This way will feel a bit strange. Drop the shoulders away from the ears, reaching up, crossing. Lovely, last one. Great, and release. Nice. Okay, so keeping the legs at the same distance, stretch up with the left arm, lovely long stretch through the left side, and we're sliding the right arm down a wee bit, down the right leg, so we can feel the stretch on the left side. And change, reach up with the right hand. Let's do that again. Reach up, slide down, reach up, slide down. Lovely. And then release. Okay, and then if we just take our belt behind our back, so take the belt as wide as you need. Now, if you're very flexible in the shoulders, you don't need a belt, you can just clasp your hands. But you want to make sure that your shoulders are rolling back and down. So if you clasp your hands by having your shoulders hunched forward like that, then use a belt instead so you can get a nice open front chest. And then we are going to soften the knees slightly. And then just begin to lean back. So we're showing the sternum up to the ceiling, sliding the hands down the back. So just a little gentle back arch, and inhale, come up. We'll do that 2 more times. Just, you don't need to go that far, just see if you can get a little back stretch. Very nice. Squeeze the shoulders together. Gently release. Nice. And then ease out. Okay, so we'll do one more warm up with the feet wide apart. Bend the knees, and we're going to come forwards with the elbows on the knees. Let your bottom go behind you and up in the air. And then we're transferring our weight to the right foot. So we're straightening that left leg and feeling that stretch through the left inner thigh. So there's no need, you can go to the floor if you feel that's comfortable, but otherwise you can just keep your elbow on your knee, or you can even have your hands on the knee if the knee even feels a bit far away. But the main thing is to get that stretch through the opposite leg, the left leg. You can also take your leg further apart if you need to get more stretch. And then we're going to bend and transfer to the other side. So we're bending the left knee, feeling that stretch through the inner right thigh. So have your so if you've got your hands on the floor, have them over your left foot. So have both your hands over your bent knee foot. That's it. And let's go one more time. So we're changing back again. So if you're down, you want your hands over your right foot, your knee bending over your ankle, feeling that inner thigh stretch, and then walking your hands back along the floor to the left side, or if you've got your elbows on your knees, just transfer your elbows to the other side. Feeling that stretch through the inner thigh, breathing. And then coming back to center. Just walk your feet in a little bit, bend your knees, take the hands onto the waist, and then let your crown of the head lengthen forward, let the sternum come up. So you're coming up, very nice, supported with your legs and feet together. Great, okay, lovely. So from there, let's go down to the bottom of our mat. We're facing up towards our chair, which we've got placed at the top of the mat. Preferably secure. Okay, so standing up nice and tall, feet pressing down into the floor, shoulders back and down. So we're opening the front of the sternum. Sending our hands down towards the floor. Now turn your left foot slightly, just turn it away from the center and bring your right foot forward. If we can, we're keeping that back heel down on the floor and the straight back leg. But you might find that you need to lift the heel a bit, that's absolutely fine. So what we're going to do now is work the right knee down over the right ankle. So we're going into warrior one. Good. And then hopefully you'll feel that stretch up the front of the left hip. So rotate your thighs so they're facing forward up your mat, and then we'll bring our arms up, hook the thumbs if we can, or we can use a belt. So again, if you find that your shoulders feel quite stiff, you can use your belt. And if you are not taking the arms up because of one reason or another, particularly if you're pregnant, you want to just take the arms behind you like that, so that you're opening your chest. And if you find when you do that that you can't rotate your shoulders, you use your belt to give yourself a little bit more space. You can also use your belt with your arms up to give yourself a bit more space if you need it. So if you're hooking your thumbs one way, let's just change the hook. And we're taking the backs of the hands back, dropping down, keeping that knee above the ankle, shoulders down, backs of the hands behind you. Both elbows as straight as you can. 2 more breaths. And inhale to come back. Lovely. Okay, let's try that to the other side. So just walk out around your back for a moment, just to ease out your body. Okay, so again, feet hip distance. This time we're turning our right foot just slightly away from the center. Bring that left foot forward. And then we're turning our hips to face down the mat toward our chair. And then take a breath in as we exhale. Stretching down into that right heel, bending that left knee so the knee comes over the ankle. So this time you're feeling the stretch through the front of the hip flexor. Now if you find that easy to do and your knee shoots past your ankle, just go a little wider. And then we're either catching the hands behind the back or stretching up. Hook the thumbs or use a belt. Sinking down, sending that back heel back. Really hit back with that back shin. The hands moving back behind you. So see if you can get the squeeze of the shoulder blades, sternum coming forward a little bit, dropping the shoulders away from the ears. Change the cross of your thumbs. And then inhale to come up. Great. And bring the feet back together. Lovely. So let's just do a little uttanasana now. So we can have the feet parallel and just be over your chair if that's going to be more comfortable for you. We're going to hang forward with the hips over the ankles. So you can relax onto a chair if you like. If you want to hang free, then by all means do, but sometimes just when you're first waking up your hamstrings, it's quite nice to have something to spread the weight. So it's just not all on your feet. See if you can get a feeling of lengthening through the spine. Sit bones reaching up to the ceiling so that you're elongating out before you bend forward. So it's not like a hunching forward, it's a lengthening forward. Taking time to warm the body up. And then to come up, we're going to lengthen the crown of the head. And keep your hands onto your chair, just walk back a little bit. So you want to have the spine long. So if when you are in this position, your back is in a hump, then you need to take your arms a little bit high. So you want to have your spine in a straight line. Okay, and then we're going to transfer the weight to the left leg. Take our right foot back and then float up the right leg, and then take our left hand in front on the chair and then float up the left hand. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. Very nice. So you feel how you have to use your core. Really send that leg back and up. Lovely breathing. If you find it hard, you can keep both hands on the chair and just do the leg. See if we can hold 2 more breaths. Sending that leg away. Nice. And then bringing that foot back, taking a moment just to readjust your balance. And we're going to bring the weight onto the right leg, send our left leg behind us, and then float up. Once we've got a nice float, we bring our right arm up, and then let the right arm also lift. Shoulders away from the ears, floating the arm up, breathing. Bringing your hand down, and the leg down, and then we'll just hinge forward again in our Uttanasana. Now obviously if you're pregnant, then you can do this with your legs a little bit wider to make space for your abdomen, and then just get that feeling of lengthening forward rather than squishing down, to give your baby plenty of room so you're not squishing yourself. That's it. Okay, so from there, let's just bend our knees and take the hands behind our back, bring our sternum forward, nice and safe. Yeah, great. Okay, so from there, just make sure that you've got your chair positioned nicely. You might need to have a slightly higher bit of the chair handy for this. So what we're going to do is take our hands behind our back, roll our shoulders back and down, and bring the palms together. Then we want to rotate our palms, working them up the back. Okay, now if that's not happening for you, then you can just start off with any kind of rotation you can manage, and we can do the pose like that. What we're looking for is to roll our shoulders back and down. So even if you begin to get a turning, you're beginning to get the right action. So keep opening the chest. So we don't want to do this, we want to do that. Right, facing our chair. And bring the right foot forward, left foot back. We're going to elongate and see if you can take the head down onto the chair. It may be that you're higher up, that you're on the top of the chair. So this is a strong stretch through the front leg. Breathing. If it's impossible for you with the hands, you can always just catch hold of your arms, your wrists. Working your elbows together. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. And to come up, we're lengthening the crown of the head. Coming up. And then release the hands. Great. Okay, so we'll just ease out the arms, ease out the wrists before we do the other side. Okay. So again, finding the level for you, so hands together, working the hands up spine. And then if you just, or you can just catch your wrists, and we're facing our chair, turn that left the right foot away slightly as you bring your left foot forward. Hips facing up the mat. You can lean back slightly into our hands and then exhale. Coming forward. Sliding the forehead forward. So you're going to feel that in the front leg. So yeah, adjust the hands to suit you. If you need to just catch your wrist, then that's fine. See if you can take the elbows back behind you. And then sliding forward, using that back foot to support you as you come up. Great, nice, and then release the hands. It's quite a strong rotation in the wrist because that's not an action that we ordinarily do in our daily life. Lovely. Okay, let's just try another balance. So we're going to do our half moon pose, Ardha Chandrasana. So we'll need a chair or some blocks. If you're super flexible, you can have blocks. Some of you will be able to reach the floor, but you might as well be prepared. Okay, so we're taking our feet 3 to 3.5 feet apart. If you've got a wall or a bed behind you, you can use that to put your hand on. So we're turning left foot out, right foot in. Let's just go into our ordinary Trikonasana. So nice. And if you need to have your hands higher with your Trikonasana, then have them high. So you want both sides of the waist to be the same. And don't let your head collapse. That's nice. Okay, and then drop our top arm. We're going to bend the left knee and begin to transfer our weight over that left leg. Yeah, and then reaching up. So you may need to have your hand higher. That's fine. Just have the hand where you need. So you're going to feel this possibly in the standing leg, and then you want to rotate your hip away. Shoulders away from the ears. Beautiful. Lovely, Jacinta. That's amazing. Yeah. Breathing. Breathing. Let's see if we can hold it for a couple breaths more. Right, to come down, we're going to bend that front knee, place our foot carefully back on the floor, and we'll come up through our Trikonasana. Okay, so we're going to need to swap our chair around then to do that to the other side. Great. Okay, so we've got our back against the wall if we're using the wall. Feet 3 to 3.5 feet apart. Turn right foot out, left foot in. And we're just going into a nice Trikonasana. So we're bending from the top of the right leg. Take the hand down. So give yourself the height that you need for your Trikonasana. Remember that when you do Trikonasana, you bend from the top of the leg and both sides of the waist stay nice and long. So let's hold our Trikonasana for a bit. So you use the height that you need so you can get lovely long lines through the spine. Okay, and then we're dropping our top arm. Bend the right foot and begin to transfer our weight so that we then can float the back leg up, the left leg. So you can just go as high as you need. You may want to have your hand high up on the top of a chair to get a lovely line. As you're able to hinge in the top of the leg, you can take your hand lower. So don't take the hand lower by collapsing in the upper body. That's really nice, Hazel. Beautiful. Lovely, Jacinta. And breathing. Open the chest. Rotate your trunk forward. Breathing. 2 more breaths. And then to come down, we're going to bend the knee, place that foot on the floor, and then come up through Trikonasana. Very nice, lovely. Okay, so from there we'll head back down to the mat now. So if you've got something to sit on, that's a good height. Just going to bend that a bit more. Okay. So let's just sit cross-legged, get our height through our spine, thinking about the stacking of the vertebrae, our sit bones descending, the crown of the head lifting up to the ceiling, the shoulders dropping down away from the ears. We can take, you have the fingers on the knees for a moment, just push against your knees to see if you can get an extra lift up through the front of the body. And remember, we're looking to try and get our knees lower than the hips. So if you find that's awkward, just try sitting up really high and just notice the difference that you feel. And then we can turn the backs of the hands onto the knees. Fingers just relaxed. And then we're thinking about our sit bones. Can we exhale, send the sit bones down, send the crown of the head up. Now those of you that have a wobble cushion, do this with your wobble cushion. And as I said, if you need more height than a wobble cushion provides, you can just put the wobble cushion on top of whatever else you're using, because that way, with the wobble cushion, it's helping you to find those core muscles. Because when you sit on your wobble cushion, you start to wobble, hence its name. And then in order to prevent yourself from wobbling, without you having to really think about it, it just forces you to get that. No, I'm going to put that another way. I don't like to use that word force. But when you're on your wobble cushion, you'll discover, your body discovers that in order to not wobble, it can do that by just drawing the pelvic floor up towards the lower vertebrae. So if that's your vertebrae, that's your pelvic floor, you just draw your pelvic floor up into the lower vertebrae. And the point is, you don't have to think about it. It's somehow your body discovers that. And that's why the wobble cushion is really nice, because it really helps you to find these correct muscles without having to rack your brain. Sometimes doing these Kegel exercises that people recommend for pelvic floor, some people find it quite hard to work out how the muscles should be working. But with this wobble cushion, you just, hopefully you're all feeling that, you just get that lift up through the pelvic basin. Right, let's just do a little rotation. So we're going to push the left hand against the left knee and let your spine just rotate on itself like a corkscrew. We're turning to the right, to look behind us. You can have a block there, if that helps you. Lifting up through the spine. Lovely. And then coming back to center. So we'll try that the other way. So we'll take the back of our right hand just against the knee. So you can have a slight push, which helps you to rotate. Keep your spine straight, so you're rotating on your spine like a corkscrew. So we're not going to side or anything. It's just really a rotation. And then you can have something to catch behind your left, on your left side, behind your back, if you like. Get that lift up through the lower abdomen, drawing up and in. Beautiful. And remember, don't let the head lead, rather let the shoulder, the left shoulder leads, and the head follows because it's attached. So you're not overstressing your neck. And similarly, get the height and think about the back waist, let it go back behind you so that you're not hollowing. And that will also help you to connect with the pelvic basin, drawing it in and up, breathing, breathing. Lovely, and then release. Okay, and then let's do our parsvattanasana now. So if you get right on top of the wobble cushion that those of you are using one, or you can just go on to whatever you're using. Now you'll notice this is the hardest position to get into with the cushion, because you've only got the lower bits of your toes, your feet, outer edges of the feet on the mat, as well as your bottom, obviously. So therefore you're having to work a little bit harder to get your balance. So it's a terrific way to bring your pelvic floor into activation. So again, if you need to have a cushion on with get some height, get some blocks, and then put your wobble cushion on top of the blocks if you need to have your bottom higher. Because otherwise, if your knees are way up here, it's not so easy for you. So you can work that out, and then we'll lift up. So let's bring our hands now onto the chest, shoulders rolling back and down, breathing, breathing. Think about your sit bones, so they're going down and back, slightly back, and then start to see if you can bring your body forward, not by folding forward, but by lengthening, so long from the tops of the legs, long abdomen. And as you do that little hinge forward, bringing your hip bones forward, you'll feel an extra stretch in the groin. Roll your shoulders back and down, beautiful. Beautiful. And then take the arms out to the side, keeping that slope. See if you can lift your arms up, dropping the shoulders down. And then we're going to try and take the thumbs back. Now, if that's really hard for you to do, you can use your belt and have your arms really far apart to make that more feasible. And some of you can clasp your hands together, push your hands away, drop your shoulders away from the ears, breathing. 3 more breaths. And release. Okay, but just before we finish, we'll just do it one more time. So if you were clasping your hands, change the clasp, so the other little fingers underneath. And then one more time, stretching the arms up. Use your belt if you need, or you can just have your hands parallel. Send your hands away, send your belt away, then see if you can bring your little fingers back behind you. If you need to use your belt, that's absolutely fine, it really helps. See if you can bring your abdomen forward a little bit. Let your knees drop. 2 more breaths. Nice, Richard, good. Drop your shoulders. Breathing, straight elbows, Trish. and release. Great, well done. And then we'll just straighten the legs out. Give our legs a little shimmy. Yeah, there's no shame in using your belt. It's more important to have your elbows straight and to have your shoulders down, rather than, you know, going too quickly into this and then finding yourself with your shoulders up around your ears and your upper back hunched. Okay, so let's just now have a wee stretch of the legs. So we'll take our belt around our feet. Just loop your belt around your feet, and we'll just send the heels away, sitting up nice and tall. And if you're on the wobble cushion, just check that you've got to be actually on it, on the top of it, to get the best benefit. Definitely makes you wobble. Send the shoulders back and down. Lovely. And then you can, if you've got some space, you can work your hands forward. Keep getting the lift. So you're lifting from the tops of the legs, lifting up towards your navel. Send the heels away. Breathing. And obviously, whenever you're doing any forward bend when you're pregnant, you want to have your feet wide, so that when you bend forward, you've got some space for your baby and not squishing. Okay, and then if you want to go lower, if you've got, just go to wherever your max is, lengthening the tummy across the thigh. Bringing the crown of the head forward, shoulders stay back away from the ears. So you're feeling that strong in the back of the legs. Nice. So now let's come up a little bit and we'll take our hands behind our back, swap your belt to your hands and just squeeze your shoulders away from the ears, so you're opening your chest, using your belt to help you. Have the belt as wide as you need. Roll your shoulders back and down, and then see if you can bring your sternum forward. Nice long spine. Lovely. Nice. And then to come up. Yeah, just come up with the sternum still forward. Great. Okay, so let's just do another little, we'll do another wee twist before we wind down. So we're bringing the right foot up. So again, as well, if you're pregnant, when you do these twists, you need to have your feet a little bit wider, just to make space so that you're not squishing. But you can still, and don't go so far, but you can still get the benefit of opening the chest, drawing the shoulders back and down. And those of you that don't need to worry about that can bring your leg in more tightly, your foot in closer. And let's change side. So we're stretching out the right leg, bringing our left leg up making the space that we need, get as much height as we can, rotating to the left. Some of you can get your elbow down the outside of your left knee. Trying to get as much contact with the right side and the left thigh. Lovely, and then release. Good. I don't know about you, but I always get a little crunch on one side when I do that. Little vertebrae shift. Okay, so from there we're going to go onto our floor, onto the floor, and we'll need our belt probably, and bringing the right ankle in front of the left knee, bringing your left knee forward, and if you like you can use your belt. So you want to hold your knee without hunching your shoulders, so keeping the shoulders in a nice neutral position. So you've got your right hand through the gap between the legs, bringing that left knee towards you, or you might just be holding the shin. Nape of the neck long. Don't forget to pop something under your head if you find that you're making I don't know if that's concave or convex. If you're making that arch in your neck, you want to have your nape of the neck nice and long. And if you would like to get a little bit more stretch, you can lean a little bit to the left. And we're breathing. Lovely, and we'll change sides, so both knees together, and then bringing the left ankle in front of the right knee, catching, and just notice you might find that one side feels tighter. You may need to give yourself a little bit more space just to warm up on one side, and then remember you can put your belt there. And the other thing to think about is, if you think about how, imagine you've got a marble in your navel, you want to get a feeling of rolling that marble towards the pubic bone. So you just want to watch, you're not lifting up your the base of your spine. Don't lift it forward, let it drop down. And that way you'll feel the glutes stretch more. Making sure that you've got something under your head if you need it. Let's soften into this. If we take a little bit of time with it, you'll find that you can catch a little bit more tightly after a minute or two. Keep the shoulders relaxed. Squeeze a little bit more if you like, and then you can just roll your weight slightly over to the right. Notice how that increases your stretch. Remember to roll your navel towards the pubic bone. Lovely, and then release. Great. So now we'll do our little side, taking the knees to the side. So let's do it with both knees together today. So we're going to have our something like a cushion or bolster on the left hand side. We're just going to let our knees roll onto that. At the same time, we rotate to keep our left shoulder down. So it really depends on each person. The main thing you want to think about is make sure that the opposite shoulder stays down. So if you find that your opposite shoulder is coming with your legs, then you need to have a little bit more height so your knees don't go so far. You want to make sure that you are squeezing evenly in both directions. And equally, some of you may not need to have your have anything on under your knees. You might be able to get your knees all the way down, rotating into your right shoulder. So it's like wringing out your spine. You can cross the right leg under the left as you go to the left. So the other thing to think about in this pose is your rib cage. So what you don't want to do is fling your rib cage forward. So rather let rib cage settle down towards your spine, and the back of the waist is actually settling back as well, and then you get a nice even ring through the spine. Breathe. Breathe. So notice how the breath comes into your belly. You can really activate this pose if you want. You can do it quite passively. If you want to activate it, you think about the lower half of your body going to the left, the upper half going to the right, and you can exaggerate that action, that ringing action. If you've got something that your right hand can push against, you can do that, which helps you a little bit more with that dissociation. Breathing. Breathing. Nice. And release. So let's come back to center. And we're going to take that over to the other side. So you want to move your support over to the right now. Get ourselves back into a neutral position, bringing our knees up. If we like, we can cross left knee over right as we go to the right. And we want to be able to maintain that rotation of the left shoulder to stay on the floor. So if we find that that's really pulling and it's really hard to keep the left shoulder down, then we want to put a little bit more height under our knees over to the right, so that you can really bring the left shoulder properly on the floor, not kind of half lifted. And then you can start to do that little ringing action. So we're pushing, you can use something to push against if you like, so that you're letting that left shoulder go down, so the upper half of the body is rotating to the left and the lower half is going to the right. You may not need any cushions, that's fine. Breathing. And also you can think about the height that you have your knees. So if you want to have the knees higher or lower, you'll get the stretch slightly differently. When your knees are lower, you're going to feel it more in the hips. And when your knees are higher, you probably feel it more in the upper back. So find a good stretch for you. And how do you know it's a good stretch? Because it should feel quite nice. And also, you'll notice that your breathing can come a little bit more deeply into the belly. And then, lovely, we're going to gradually unwind from that and just bringing our body back to a straight line. Let's just have a little stretch along in straight lines before we do our relaxation. So let your feet stretch parallel, arms over the head. I'm just taking a moment to return to a balance, straight balance as opposed to side balance. Great, and then from there we're going to prepare to do our relaxation. So if you like to have something under your knees, then you can do that. And if you want to have a blanket, it's a very rainy day here in Edinburgh, so we're probably taking our blankets back again that we threw away in May, bringing back in June. So finding a nice position for you with the shoulders nicely tucked under. If you really can rotate your shoulders, you'll find that your palm, because you're turning in the inner arm, you'll find that the palm is by itself pointing to the ceiling. So it's quite a good indication what your shoulders are doing. If you find that your palm is facing down or towards your leg, it may be that you just need to think a little bit more about rotating the shoulders, broadening across the front of the chest, and just lengthening out the nape of the neck. So let's just make our last little adjustments. And we're going to bring our awareness now to the breath, noticing how your belly will rise and fall on the inhalation and exhalation. with every exhalation, how much more can we just settle our body, the weight of our body down onto the mat, onto the floor. Nice, and then we're going to think about bringing our awareness slowly back into our body, lying on the mat, just getting ready to take a deep breath, moving our fingers and toes, stretching through our arms and legs, just moving aside any cushions you were using. And let's just have a big stretch. And then we can just roll in our own time onto one side. So just taking a moment to lie on one side. Giving yourself a little moment to notice how you're feeling, how your body's feeling. And then we'll come up. Into sitting. Taking our time to get nice straight spine again. Just note, hopefully you feel your chest is more open, shoulders more settled. And then we'll bring our hands together. Lovely. Thank you all very much. See you next time.